Carrie, 梁佳怡, welcome.
Thank you, Annie. Good morning, everyone. Woo, good morning. Again, my name is Carrie, and I have a confession to make. Putting this story together was very difficult for me because it is just not really just my story, but also things just happen so fast here and things grow so fast here. And in this city, everybody just gets on with it. So in telling the story, it was really hard for me to get it together, but over the fair in the last couple of days, I realized that, this is not, well, today I'm going to tell you my personal story, but there's a lot of similar stories that are happening in Shenzhen that's just like mine. And today it's a personal narrative about what we have grown here, but there's a lot of other people here that are co-making just the same, that are seeding new communities across the city and probably across the world. So today I'll talk about how co-making built a network of supportive communities. As of today, what I have done and what my team has done, we're reaching about a couple dozen people. They volunteer their time, their expertise, and they come together to put on platforms for young makers. But before I start that story, I need to tell you a little bit about myself so you understand my perspective and the lenses of what I'm going to tell you. So first, I come from San Francisco, Silicon Valley. My family immigrated to North America in the 1970s, so I grew up there. So in Silicon Valley, 1970s, sharing garages, people doing things, hacking, having fun. Graphic user interface, right? Created by Xerox, beautified by Apple, popularized by Microsoft. Then you move forward a little bit in Silicon Valley, and then social media, right? Birthplace of social media. We started sharing, talking in ways that we haven't ever before. And of course, a lot of other things come from Silicon Valley, but also the maker movement started there. Right there, San Mateo Fairgrounds was the first maker fair. And so this is me, 1990s to 2010. That's 16-year-old me on my soccer team in San Francisco. And this is important because I grew up in an immigrant neighborhood in San Francisco. I had friends on this team, anywhere from Russia to Honduras to me, from my parents were from China. And, we made things together. We hung out together more for survival and share likeness. In our neighborhood, we had a really bad raccoon problem. We tried to solve it by making things together. Obviously didn't work, but, we made and co-made together to survive. And then as I got a little bit older, I started working in Silicon Valley. So these are two companies that I learned the most from. And I also learned a lot from companies that failed. But really here, we were sharing and collaborating to innovate. People from all over the world came to these places, to this valley, to innovate and push the envelope on technology to share with the world. And then as I got a little bit older, I ended up in a financial institution, a bank. And I learned that collaboration, transparency, and all these things were important to maintain dominance, I guess. So through all of those experiences, all these things, we had goals and we were able to either succeed in them or failed. But really, more importantly, we shared a lot of things. Like in my neighborhood, we shared homes, stories, problems, and for the ones that had grandmas at home, we shared grandmas because we needed it. And as I got older, I learned, at workplace, emotions, solutions, being transparent, all these things that we shared were very important. And really, all these things, the common thread of all of our successes is really co-making. None of these things would have happened if we weren't co-making or really sharing together, right? If I didn't share or if somebody didn't share with me, none of these things would happen. So the definition of sharing, very simply, it's a verb, it's an action, right? This is something we have to do. You have to interact with another person, right? Something you have, use, give, occupy, or enjoy with somebody else. Because if you don't share, you don't have resources, ideas, space, tools, can't share grandmas, you're just sitting there by yourself with your own goals. And that's pretty lonely. So now enter Shenzhen. I arrived in 2011. It was the year of the Universidad. I was blown away with what I found here. I recently just, kind of quit my job in Silicon Valley. I was kind of over it, and I wanted something new, something inspiring. And what I found in Shenzhen was super inspiring, but very similar to what it was like at home. There's Huachangbei and all the Shenzhai products that were like, to me, awesome, open, innovative. All these buildings going up, and the slogan, 你来就是深圳人. I love that. It's inclusive. That means we can learn from each other. So, Maker Ed in Shenzhen from 2011 to 2012. Now I'm going to bring you through my personal story. This 2 years, I was just learning. I started working at Shenzhen American International School, and I started working with the team to build a design thinking, making, and project-based learning program, because that's what we felt was the way to educate our kids. So during this time, really, we were just building our own community, and I needed resources. And in the corner there, you see this lovely young lady. Her name is Violet Su. She happened to be at Chai Hua Makerspace when I was looking for makerspaces there, and we became kind of friends, because I shared her my story, and she shared her resources with me. And through those 2 years, she supported my kids coming to her makerspace or Chai Hua Makerspace to make. We even got factory tours, and we learned more about resources in the community for children and what it meant to be a maker for the kids. Now, the next 2 years, growing. We're still learning, but really, we're reaching like-minded communities at this point. What I found was a we. There was a lot of people that were like-minded in Shenzhen. So, still here, we're growing and learning and connecting, but I went to my first Shenzhen Maker Faire. I think that was 2014, the one at Equal. And here I met a couple of people that were kind of impactful. First, there was Shannon Hoover from Make Fashion. My students really wanted to do fashion tech, and so I became friends with Shannon, and he helped me in my class in all the fashion tech stuff. Below, you see Lit Lau from Lychee Lab. We found that we had very similar philosophies with making and education, and Lit is a native of Shenzhen. And so we started co-making together. In the Make Club, that silly googly-eyed things, that was just a club because the parents that weren't at our school really wanted the things that we were doing at our school, the making and the design thinking. And so we offered after-school free things in our apartment to show other parents, this is how you can do it at home. And finally, on the very bottom quarter there in the empty space, my school legitimized making, and I had a space. We had a real space dedicated just to making. The next 2 years, it got kind of crazy. The communities, we started sharing a lot, because there's more of us now, like I realize. Through working with the teachers, other teachers wanted a makerspace, and they didn't know how. So we started digitally sharing. I created a file on how to start a makerspace and what it's about, Taobao links on how they can source things, and so we started supporting other schools and creating makerspaces in their own schools all around Shenzhen, in international schools, public schools, any space really. We started physically co-making, and we officially at that point joined Lychee Lab, and we started physically co-making and creating curriculum together. And we saw a need for platforms, a place for other people to come and exchange ideas. So we created the Education Innovation Network, which was just like-minded educators informally meeting, going to different schools every month, public school, international school, so that we can share what our schools are doing. And then we launched the Nanshan School Maker Faire, so that the kids actually had a platform to show all their great stuff. And so at this point, it got really big. It kind of got really crazy, and we're like, oh my gosh, success, a lot of people, right? This is great. But then we stopped and thought about it, like success. the more people that came to our events, the less we felt like impact or action was being made afterwards. So we really had to think about, what does success mean to us? We're doing all these things, but if everybody's just walking away and doing nothing, did we really do anything? So we started to define impact, right? Impact, meaning what changes in the community is happening due to some of the things we're sharing. Things we felt we were doing right. Teachers, we're starting to teach teachers, agents of change, right? People that want to do things, and it had a multiplier effect. They went back into their own communities and did things that were right for their community. The communities were starting to connect into a network, which was awesome, and resource and expertise were being shared peer-to-peer. Things we thought we could improve on. Popularity and attendance size is not enough as a metric for impact and change. Just because there's a lot of people here today doesn't mean you're going to walk out of here and make immediate change later. And also, how do we build these mindsets and skills into the culture of the community and make it the norm instead of one and done? Because we were doing a lot of talks and workshops, but okay, once we stop that, is it gone? And how do we empower and enable others to independently to go out there and share? We found that there were a lot of people that wanted to share. They wanted to do these things. How do we support them? So really the answer was Steamhead. Steamhead is a nonprofit makerspace that's located in Sheko. And really it's a hub of information exchange. It's meant for research, development, people to come in, educators specifically, to do things, and for the community to support each other. We addressed making things last, continuity in things by talking to teachers. And they said that we need these events, these platforms on a calendar, and we need to trust that it's gonna happen every year. So right now, there are 3 events every year for the schools that do make, right? There's the Shenzhen Maker Faire, which is happening right now. Like this weekend, I saw scores of kids coming in and out, being amazed by all the exhibitions. There's the School Maker Faire, and that's focused specifically on the kids, a platform for them. And this year we added Make Fashion EDU, a runway show. And hopefully all of these things, well, the school ones will be institutionalized with a public institution like the Science Society. So, Maker Ed Shenzhen 2017-2018. With a little bit of tweaking, we have many people teaching others, right? The impact is new communities, new things are growing, and they're connecting into the fast network of Maker Ed teachers and educators that is growing and existing here. So some statistics to support this. The School Maker Faire. As you can see, the first one, there was only 5 schools in attendance. Only 20% of the exhibits were interactive, right? And to be honest, a lot of those exhibits were more adult-owned and run than kids, which wasn't the point. But by the last one that we had in December 2nd, we had 78 booths, a healthy mix of international schools and public schools and community organizations. A lot of the community organizations are doing great things now for the community. 95% of the booths were interactive. 95% of the booths were just student-run, student-managed, student speaking. So, this year, November 17th, here at the same venue, we have 130 booths signed up. Pretty equal smattering of international school, public school, and community organizations. We have over 500 kids directly involved right now and actively, preparing, to exhibit their stuff. And 100% of the exhibits are interactive. 100%. So this is the framework that we are operating on right now to help us, and this can change. So what happens is our values come first, right? So for example, one of our goals is to make relevant education accessible. So what we do, and what we do is we research and we see what the community wants, and then Steamhead supports it as a hub. And then we reach out to the change agents in the community, like the people that run Design Society, change agents at schools, community organizations like SEED or MG Space, and they trickle down to the rest of the community until they're seeding new communities, and it's a big loop. So the effect of the simple act of sharing. I know this looks messy, but the value is to make relevant education accessible. And we'll take the example of Make Fashion EDU, right? One of the goals was to get girls into tech more and STEAM more and make it more accessible for them. So Make Fashion Tech was a great way to do it. We use SteamHead as an admin hub for support and access. And all these change agents here that I named here, Cheryl with Design Society, me at my school, Jane at Dongwon Primary School, Linda, just as a parent, Isling from MG Space, and Shannon, from Make Fashion Calgary. We're trickling down all our things to help the kids and adults, and it's seeding new communities. For example, Design Society, their learning group, opened fashion tech workshops. And those fashion tech workshops are open to all the schools in Shenzhen. For example, Linda, a parent that really got into it, she started getting other parents into it, Yuchai 1, and now she has moved to London, and now she's propagating Make Fashion EDU in London. But really, the arrows are going this way. It's really the arrows go every way, right? Everybody's co-making and sharing on their own in their own time. So sharing, okay? Just simple definition. You can share ideas, expertise, resources, and time. And so some cardinal rules that work for us when sharing. Be the first one to say hi. It's okay. Just say hi. Be open-minded, right? Listen to what others want and what they need. You might find that you guys have something to connect with. Be enabling, meaning if you have something to help with, help, right? And document the things you do. This is very simple so that you can share with others. And I'm going to leave you with what Maker Ed in Shenzhen looks like today with a short video. So this was the last Nanshan School Maker Faire. These were the engineering club at QSI. They built a car, kids sharing their stuff. Kids definitely presenting their things and being super excited about it. So Dongwon School, the kids were working with electronics. Kids using design thinking. Boys being on sewing machines because it's not a problem. Girls soldering. Somebody as young as Marius here, I think he's 7 on microbit. Coco wanted a remote control car. This is Leroy managing his own things on an app called Seesaw. And fashion tech happening in Yuchai number 4. So just a lot of energy and making with these kids. They're making their own furniture there. And these kids, oh my gosh, they made their own go-karts with the help of an engineer, of course. Local engineer doing a project with kids. Parents making with their kids now, right? Outside experts flying in to teach. Outside experts flying in to teach teachers. Different organizations working together. Just microbit night for girls. Teachers teaching teachers now. Adults sharing with each other so that they can improve their practices. And most notably, kids are starting to teach each other. Strangers working together, DIT. And this is Design Society with their Fashion Tech Workshop. And this was Make Fashion EDU in May. So all student projects, all student-owned, 20 projects, a couple hundred kids, 3 months of work from the entire community that got together to support these kids and their teams to put on an event. So, what will you share today? I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 谢谢 Carrie. 谢谢 Carrie, please stay with me.
Oh, yeah.
刚刚 Carrie 跟我们讲了，他一个人从美国来到深圳这个比较陌生的一个文化，他从遇到了一个 maker 到另外一个 maker， 到一个 maker 的平台，到另外一个 maker 的平台，最后他把这些都串了起来，形成了一个集科技、时尚和教育的生态系统。咱们再给 Carrie 一个掌声好吗？
Thank you guys.
谢谢 Carrie。好啦，接下来我刚刚说过，大家要记笔记的是吧？我要提问了啊！大家还记得在 Carrie 的一页 PPT 里面讲到一个 sharing 吗？我们可以做的第一条是 be the first one to say hi。所以接下来我觉得这个是我们马上就能做的。相信今天到现场的人其实彼此都不熟悉彼此，那我们马上 take action。跟你旁边的人，我们看一下谁跟谁先 be the first one， 第一个上你旁边的人讲一声 hi， 你好。
Yeah, look at that. Hi.
啊，太棒了！一下子大家都其乐融融的了，这个会场，大家已经不陌生彼此了吧？好，那在 sharing 的最后一条是什么 ？document 是吧？演讲开始之前，我也有跟大家讲，掏出自己的小本本，要记笔记了，因为我们的提问环节来了。大家的笔记记得怎么样？不要低头啊！好了，接下来我们是一个3分钟的一个提问的环节，你们来提问 ，Carrie 来回答。所以有想要提问的小伙伴，一定要迅速的举手，我们的工作人员会识别到你，然后递上麦克。有人提，好，那位女士，哎，我们的工作人员把那个麦送到那位观众那个地方。
Just one question. How to maintain such a big project?
How to make such a big project? Well, I think first I need to ask you, what do you mean by big project?
So many participants, so many organizations, they stay with you and do such interesting and not so many things very interesting, but it is very a lot of people and money.
I get it. I get the question. So really, I'm just the person that's talking here, right? And I'm the face that you see. But anything like this that happens takes a team, a community, a bunch of people that contributed to this in their efforts. You know, a lot of these things wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the support of, you know, these organizations here. And so I know funding is a hard issue, and funding is hard with a lot of the stuff that we do, but there are like outside organizations that do support, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We all have shared values. And so if you find that person or those people and it grows into something like this, you know that everybody has shared values and they're willing to put in their time. So like a quick story, yesterday I talked to a reporter, and you know, she was very excited about what I was doing, and I was sharing my story, but by the end of it, you know, she was like, well, how can I volunteer? And I think that's because, you know, of shared values. So if anybody out here wants to do something, put your values out there. You'll find that other people are like you and want to do the same thing. And a lot of these things don't require a lot of money, just your time.
好，谢谢这位观众。我们还有最后一个问题，大家一定要快，有吗？好，那位观众，你后面。
All right. So my question is this a extracurriculum for the school?
Extracurricular for school?
Yeah, or you make it happen. You come to school and you say, this is very cool, let's do it.
Okay, this is a really good question for all you teachers out there. So we meet educators in schools in any community with where they're at. So for my school, it's a project-based learning school, and we can do it in our classes. But a lot of the public schools, it is an extracurricular activity, and so we help them do it that way. It really is, meeting the community with where it's at. So depending on, the idea is for us as enablers and people that want to help others is to share. I don't want to walk in and say, this is the way to do it right and this is how you do it. The first thing we do is, what does your community look like? What does it needs and what are your challenges? And then we come in with some solutions. So the things that you saw here that happened was met in a lot of different ways. We have a network of over 200 schools now, and every school is different. And so we try to support them in the way that we can the best for them.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 谢谢. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you,
Have
Annie.
a seat, have a seat.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.